9:30 a.m. Some major news coming out of the NBA that could shake the landscape in the Eastern Conference. For more on that, I want to welcome in our Shams Charania. You just broke the news moments ago. What can you tell us about what happened?
So Cunningham in the last 24 hours has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung. And so the Pistons are bracing for him to be out an extended period of time. It will be at least a matter of weeks here with Cunningham. There is some internal optimism that he'll be back for the playoffs, which are a month away. And the Pistons have been positioned here, #1 seed in the Eastern Conference. They're a few games ahead of Boston for that #1 seed. And Cunningham, we know, has risen this year into a flat-out superstar player, an all-NBA caliber player. And you see here what he does for this Pistons group. And so we'll see exactly how long. I'm told the Pistons, medical staff, Cunningham, his group, they're all going to get together and figure out the best treatment plan for him moving forward.
All right, so a matter of weeks. We can unpack it starting there. That could mean anything. That could mean 2. It could mean 6. The playoffs about 3.5 weeks or so away. Danny, your thoughts on this news?
Not enough time for them to get right, and for him to get right, especially if it's a lung. It's going to take time to get that lung healthier, to get his wind back, and to try to do it in the playoffs is very short-lived. So this is an unbelievable season for the Detroit Pistons. Not a great storybook ending. I see this really affecting them and probably going home early because he is the playmaker. He does everything for them, and he carries a huge load offensively, even defensively. So if they don't have him, they're probably going to lose their top-seeded spot. They'll probably match up with a really good team in the first round. And with him trying to get his win back in against that team, they're probably going home.
Joe, and we have talked about this in the East a lot. The West has separated itself with 2 teams, really, Oklahoma City and San Antonio. But the East has been competitive. In fact, when Jason Tatum announced that he was coming back and he played that first Friday back, the lines jumped immediately and put the Celtics, even though they weren't the top seed, into the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. How might Vegas look at this news with Cunningham?
So there's a lot to look at individually and then collectively as a team. Start with individually. Cunningham's only played 61 games. He's not going to be able to make any of those 65-game thresholds if he's out for the rest of the season. So in terms of all NBA teams, in terms of that MVP campaign, everything else that was in place, that's out the window. So that's going to be adjusted. Number 2, they're still 20-1 to win the NBA Finals. That hasn't been adjusted yet. It likely will be. But for the Eastern Conference odds, the first thing you'll see at a place like DraftKings and everywhere else, they're going to pull those odds off until they can get more of an understanding. So you can't even bet that stuff.
And again, the role players there are good, but make no mistake about it. They're the 1 seed because of Cunningham's ascent into stardom into the NBA. Again, the breaking news from Shams, this guy right here, out for weeks, collapsed lung. What does that mean? What's the timetable with the playoffs coming? They don't know. The medical teams are going to assess coming up later today. Some other big news out of the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He has been the team wants him shelved for the season. He has said no. They continue to go back and forth. Shams, what's the latest here in Milwaukee?
Giannis has made it clear to the Milwaukee Bucks that he is refusing and will reject their idea of being shut down for the season. And so this is just the latest disagreement between the Bucks and Giannis. I've been reporting for several months now. He has believed for the last really 4 or 5 months that the time has come for both sides to move on, for Giannis to be elsewhere. The Bucks clearly disagreed. They did not trade him at the deadline.
Right.
They didn't trade him last offseason. They talked to the Knicks last offseason. They talked to Minnesota, to Miami, to Golden State at the trade deadline, among other teams, but they kept him waiting for this offseason. And now there's another disagreement about not his future, but his short-term future. And so we'll see how this plays out. But my understanding is Giannis is upset with the notion of potentially shutting himself down, and he fully intends to play again this season.
All right, so Dan, that's what I want to get into, because to me it's fascinating. Organization wants one thing. Players like, no, shut up, I want this. Who wins this tug of war? If you think you can play and the organization wants to shut you down, who wins?
I mean, there's been a lot of back and forth. It sounds like a marriage that's heading for divorce. There's no win in this situation for either side. Milwaukee wants better pick. Giannis wants to be able to contend and win and be helped. Shut it down. It's time to just relax, look forward to next year. And right now, I don't think you can win in Milwaukee.
But if you wanted to and you were hurt and the organization was trying to shut you down, could you say, no, I'm playing?
I mean, you got to save a player from himself. Yes, I would like to, but it makes no sense for him to do so. It makes no sense for them to do so. They've been losing with him when he's come back. They're 2-4 when he's come back. So it's a lose-lose situation all around. I don't see why they would, force him to play.
He has done an incredible job of making sure that the Bucks are the villains in all this.
Oh,
He didn't demand a trade. He still wants to play. Like, you're the fan. You're hearing everything you want to hear from Giannis. And then you look at the team. It's like, come on, let our guy play. It's great PR.
Yeah, committed. I give a very commendable. I love the fact that he is professional. He's an old school caliber guy. His mindset, he wants to show up and play every night. But again, we get nothing from this.
Yeah, but as Shams keeps saying, just another in a long line of disagreements between a team that won a title with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Some other news out of the NBA. Take a look at this, Shams. You broke the news about the league inching closer to expansion. Our Bobby Marks had this to say yesterday. We might want to rethink expansion after looking at some of these scores the past couple of nights. In the past 2 games, Brooklyn has trailed by a combined 60 points at the half. Tracy McGrady, NBA great, also weighed in.
We got 30 teams. Got a lot of players, 450, maybe more now. We don't have the talent to be trying to start 2 more teams, bro. Can we take 2 teams away and add 2 teams?
To still be at 30.
To still
so
be
you're
at
saying
30.
eliminate 2
I'm
teams
saying,
to still stay at 30.
I'm saying keep it at 30, 32. We just, the talent is, to me, is down, bro.
All right, question number 1 with the expansion talk. Danny, is there enough talent to go around? Do you agree with what Tracy said?
T-Mac's my guy, but I have to respectfully disagree with him on this one. There's a plethora of talent all around the world. I've had a chance to play in the G League before, what was the D League back then. I've got a chance to play overseas, so I've seen a multitude of talent in many of those places that guys deserve a chance. They just haven't been given the opportunity. Now we'll discuss the one issue that the league has, you have to fix before getting to this issue. But I definitely think there's enough talent. And the biggest thing with that plan or category is how do you spread the talent around enough for it to be balanced throughout the league?
Coach?
Roster construction, there's enough talent. I mean, what you've got to do is you've got to have better evaluators and roster construction. You saw what happened in Oklahoma City over a course of time. You see what's happened right now with Phoenix. The ability to evaluate and put together a winning roster. Maybe a roster that can compete during the regular season, maybe not ready for the playoffs, but in terms of being in the playoffs, but not competing in the playoffs. But yeah, there's enough players internationally, within college, player development. There's players. It's almost like college in a little bit ways. The players are either spread across the landscape of the sport, or in the NBA, what happens? They try to create super teams.
Yep.
But if you have a team of a mass of players, if you can get an 8- and 9-man roster of guys that buy into roles, compete together, are everyday guys, you can have a competitive team. You're not going to compete for a championship, but you can have an everyday team. And I think that's what's going on in Phoenix, right?
Is it the teams handling the talent, or is the talent itself, right? And I think that's the thing to keep an eye on around the entire NBA. 2 new expansion teams gives you 30 new jobs potentially on an annual basis, 6 two-ways. To me, it's the land of opportunity, right? So if you look at a couple teams, Seth named one of them, the Phoenix Suns. They have Devin Booker, a star, but then they have a bunch of players that are just talented and filling their roles on a nightly basis. These guys aren't all star players. You have one star player and you have a bunch of good role players. And players like Colin Gillespie, who came in on a 2-way contract, emerged over the course of his career. Mark Williams, and you've got a draft and all this. And Draymond Green also made some comments. I think he basically said it dilutes the league. But, let's look at the Warriors. They're also a team that's full of these types of players on 2 ways, getting opportunity. Guy Santos, Pat Spencer. Yeah. This team is full of players that have just been able to carve out an opportunity. And Draymond Green himself, when David Lee got injured, he was a 2nd-round pick, and he ends up taking advantage of that opportunity. That comes with that word, opportunity. And so it's a global sport. There's talent everywhere.
Everyday guys, man. Like Danny, you were an everyday guy.
Danny is a prime example of a guy who might be on an expansion roster.
Yeah, and you get everyday guys. You can compete in the league, right?
As long as you create the culture and the atmosphere, you can find a way to create a winning team.
Let me pose this question. By the way, I think it's a travesty Seattle doesn't have an NBA team, but that's another conversation.
Getting closer here.
But I find the league has a problem, and it's been a big conversation at the season. The league's got a problem with tanking.
Yeah.
They've got a competitive balance problem, and we've seen that throughout the years, but it's come to the forefront this year. How can you sell 2 more teams, 30 more players, when we could argue right now that maybe 8 to 10 are competitive?
No question. But I'll tell you how. They're going to address the tanking situation and come up with anti-tanking rules and draft lottery reform as soon as this summer. Like, this is a process that is underway. Adam Silver has been defiant behind the scenes that he wants to come up with a solution. He has told the NBA teams themselves that there will be change coming as soon as next season. So that's next season. This expansion could be as soon as 2028, 29. So I think the league wants to get that in order before even expansion.
And so you agree that it needs to happen first before you talk about bringing in
1,000%. The league knows it too.
Look, and if they get that done,
then you have a chance to build a roster. I think the tanking thing is almost an embarrassment to professional sport or any type of competition. I mean, like, if you go to the park, what are you going to try to do, Shams?
You got to win.
You want to win.
You want to
win, baby.
All right, so now you're paying these guys millions and millions of dollars. Oh, by the way, hey, Danny, take the day off because, we want to get this draft. I mean, that goes against everything anyone's ever done in a competitive environment.
So get that fixed. Then we get Seattle their team. Give another team to Vegas. They're getting all the pro sports franchises anyway. And see, right there in about 4 minutes, we fix the NBA.